And although I missed the rains, I was at home 2 hours away. I am going to go and check on the land and see what differences have been made in just the 2 or 3 rains that we've had. But before I get there, I always stop at this corner, and it has loads of fruit that I can spread onto the land. And if you've watched my other videos, then you will know what this is. This is coyote gourd. These are native fruits to these lands. So these have no problem growing in these harsh environments, in this compact and dry soil. And as you can see, it spreads everywhere. So it makes for amazing ground cover, which is one of the reasons why I want to harvest this. There's a good amount here, and I'm going to be taking a bunch of them because, I mean, we are under a electric pole. There is no reason why, I should leave these here just so it can do, I mean, nothing. Nobody's doing anything with this land. Might as well have them on the land, grow everything that I can, provide any food, any shelter, any biomass that I can to the land. And yeah, now these are inedible, but they do have a practical and medicinal use to them. I was researching them a couple of months ago, and I found out some cool things. It's gonna add them to the pile of biomass that I brought to the land. We have our seeds for today. We have our little transplants that we're bringing onto the land. But this fruit right here, when it is ripe like this yellow, it contains plenty of saponins. And this is like the soapy, like the soapy suds that you see whenever you brush your teeth or you clean something in your detergents. And so I harvested a bunch of them and I took them home to clean my backyard patio. And let me tell you, it was extremely effective. What I did was I broke them up. They are pretty solid. Broke them up and crushed them all over the patio. And I put some water and I kind of just scrubbed it in. And yeah, it was very, very soapy, very, bubbly. And, as I kind of brushed away everything, it was taking out the stains on the little pavement in my backyard. So this is a very, very potent cleanser. I also asked ChatGPT some other things I can use for it, and the answers I got were pretty cool. I can use this as an external wash on my skin or for my hair, if I formulate it right, of course. Maybe for my car or something else that needs, some external cleaning done. One of my favorite things about it is the the outer shell becomes very, very hard. And so if you leave the seeds in there, you can kind of turn it into a maraca. If you don't want to use it as a maraca, you can open it up to find hundreds and hundreds of seeds. This guy is going to repopulate everywhere on the land. So I would love to see a bunch of this taking over the grounds like such. We are back on the land, and I wanted to teach you why the position of it is so important. And it's not because we are next to a wildflower and wildlife sanctuary, but it's because of what you see in the background over there. That, my friends, is an ancient lake bed. All of it that you see, all of that used to be filled with water at one point in time. And actually, because of the rains, that kind of silver shimmery, that's water, kind of reaches all the way out here. So there's a good amount of water that is replenishing the lake bed. It's not gonna, replenish the entire thing. It would have to be like a catastrophic event. However, just imagine that lake bed, how long it is, being filled up. And if I walk over here, there is another lake bed down that way. And then there's another lake bed down that way, forming a sort of triangle. And the land kind of sits in between all of those. You may not see it, but I do. I see what this could be. And I am working to get it back to that, even if it takes me my entire lifetime. So we are here, and it is time to check in on a couple of different things after the rains that we've had. We are going to check on the compost. We're going to check on all the different pits that we have, all the different earthworks that we have, the little mini swales that we put up. Yeah, and we're gonna be planting seeds today. A lot of seeds. I'm really excited because I've had these seeds for months now, in preparation for the rainy season, so you guys get to see what I'm planting. Now, the reason I want to check the compost first is because I want to see if there is any water being held up by the leaves and the different materials inside. I also want to check the moisture of it inside of here as compared to the soil, just so I can show you the benefits of, land that is covered as compared to land that is just open and barren and uncovered, exposed to the elements. Should probably grab gloves. I wanted to actually dig into it and see a little bit deeper on what it's like and not just be so surface level with it. Man, something is super hard. What is that? Oh, wow. And this, my friends, is why mulching is so important. Having a layer that is in between the soil and the sun. Let me show you barren. Okay. This is what it looks like when it's barren and it's exposed by the sun after the rains. Nothing covering it, nothing it can do. Now when you come over here, I dug into it, took out all the top, and look what you see here. Very, very pretty, very soft, supple, can even hold a little bit of shape. I mean, come on, look at that. This is why it's so important to have leaf litter. That's why it's so important to have this. This is what a forest would have. This is why the grounds are so fertile in the forest. Look how pretty this is. It's not dusty and blown away. It holds a little shape. Come on now. What a huge difference. What a huge difference. That makes me so happy. From that to this, and then the top of that, of all of this, is nice, soft, supple, can hold some shape, still really moist, even days after the rain. I love this so much. I'm glad you guys are able to see this. Just by the look of it, the agaves are going to do well. It may look a little sad right now, but if you look on the inside where the new leaf is coming, it's nice and green. Look at that. Nice and green, nice and strong. So it's also really strong in the ground too. Really strong in the ground. And I just put that in, what, a week or two ago? Yeah. Ignore the outer leaves. They weren't strong. The inner leaf, the one that is coming out, very, very strong, very colorful. I'm going to be putting more agaves in here. Looks like our little house kind of got squished a little bit. It got squished a little bit. The nopales were snacks for a bunch of animals. So I hope they enjoyed all of those. They pretty much took all of them. But you can see the inside of that looks great. I'll put some water on them before I leave. But that is looking beautiful. This is feeling really solid. The berm is feeling really compact. This feels real good. Let me feel the soil in this. This is pretty dug in there. Man, this is like at least 5 or 6 inches of mulch. Ooh, is that what I think it is? Yes, it is. All right, I want you guys to look at this. Do you see that white forming? Do you see this forming? This is the mushrooms. This is the fungi. This is what I'm talking about. This is what's going to be breaking everything down. So by mulching things up, maintaining it moist, now we get some type of growth. Now we get some type of fungi coming in. I'm going to cover this back up, and this fungi is going to spread to all these dead leaves, all these wet leaves. And it's going to start eating everything up. See that white on there? This is so exciting. This is in, it's not in any other part of the land. You don't see any other fungi coming. This is hope. This right here is exactly why I wanted to make these pits. It's exactly why I wanted to have all of this in there so that the mushrooms can start growing and breaking all this layer down. Now I want to add more onto it, but now you guys can kind of just see things slowly starting to form. Okay, it's not an overnight thing. You see the compost over there, it is, you know, keeping the sand moist or the soil moist. That's going to keep the leaves moist. That's going to keep, you know, the fungi. It's going to give it a breeding ground. These original structures that I put in, they are all starting to kind of hold their shape. I can walk on it and everything is very, very compact. It's not so dusty and blowing in the wind. And so it's the perfect ground to put some seeds in, because I know the rain is going to be coming soon again. It's the perfect ground to just sprinkle some seeds in, which I'll be doing in all these different works that I've did. And I'm going to be covering those. I'm going to be mulching it a little bit with some leaves that I brought in today, with some biomass I brought in. I'm also going to be mixing it with a little bit of manure and native soil that I got from a garden store. So I can lay this perfect breeding ground for these seeds. And once those rains start to hit it, you know, hopefully they will germinate. Now this one right here is humongous. This one is potentially going to hold, I mean, a lot of water, you know, slow up a lot of water, thousands of gallons. This is going to be spread with seeds galore, all types of seeds, and also rocks and other sticks and you know, biomass thrown in there. So this one is humongous, just to give you a side view. This one is huge. I'm going to spread seeds along the berm here, and I'm going to spread seeds on the inside as well. Let's see what else we got. We got another one right here. This one's a funky shape. This one's gonna have a lot of seeds in there as well. Let's look at the one that I dug up by hand. All those bigger ones you're seeing, they're all, of course, by machinery. There is absolutely no way that I'm gonna be able to do that. But this one right here was made by me, by hand, and I love it. It looks very natural. A lot of seeds are gonna go in here as well. The rocks are gonna help the seeds. Are gonna, you know, help them stay away from the harsh sun, and hopefully able to fill up some water. Hopefully some bugs and animals are able to fill into these crevices. And hopefully, as the water comes rolling down, as I predict it to come rolling down when it's really deep in the rainy season, then it's going to catch a lot of sediment as well. It's going to catch a lot of sediment. It's going to catch a lot of seeds. So this is going to be a cool little pit to keep an eye on, because I feel like this one's probably going to have some of the most growth. You can check out this one right here. Looks like the ants really favored this one, and I don't mind that, seeing a mound of ants, because they are loosening the soil underneath the surface. And so the ants are working with me. Again, back to my point of why I want to do it the way that I want to do it. I want to work with the animals. The animals are only helping. Now today I was able to bring a bunch from my garden, including banana leaves, chayote leaves, what else? Coconuts, and a bunch of other fruit scraps. I have a bunch of mesquite seeds, thanks to my friend Inti over at Lavender Farms. I'm going to link his Amazon, where you can buy these mesquite seeds. I'm going to link that in the bio. Again, thank you to Inti. I appreciate him. I was able to grow these little mesquite trees, you know, from those seeds. And so I'm super excited to put these into the ground today. I'm going to be planting a lot of seeds in this ground today. I'm going to be planting a lot of the coyote gourd, or the coyote melon, into the ground today. So we're going to be getting our hands dirty. All right, here it is, my little concoction with the native soil, the amend, and the compost and the manure. Look at the soil now, full of color, full of life, full of small biomass to aerate it, right? It's a lot better to plant into something like this. That pretty color. It's a lot better to plant into something like this than into something like this, which is what the land normally looks like. That is unexposed. You can't really get into it. It's extremely hard. It's a rock. It's really compact. Those are going to be able to thrive in here. And eventually, as they get bigger and they get stronger, they're going to be able to push through this super hard rock. They're going to have to break through to the water table. But for now, they're going to be eating fine quality soil, fine quality minerals, and the water is going to be, pooled up here because of that berm. And the water is going to be staying here because of the amount of mulch that will be in the ground. Now, I'm going to be planting these very, very close to each other, closer than most people might do on their, their farms, their gardens, things like that. But if you look at these little pods already, each one of them have at least 2, 3, some have 4 in each one of these little rectangles or each one of these little pods. And the reason why I do that is because I believe in the power of diversity. I believe in the power of community. And I believe that plants help each other out when they can. Now, yes, many plants will compete. However, I also believe plants work together. And so in this case, because they are in this small little pod, they are going to be intertwined and working together and eventually kind of grow to be as one. And I want that because the more that they can take care of each other in this extreme environment, the better. The less work for me and the better chance of survival for them. Now look at the taproot on this. I didn't mean to do this. This was by mistake, but look at the taproot on this guy. This needs a lot more depth than it does width. And so I made a mistake on initially planting them in these small, little planters, but at least they were able to grow. I put them in a pretty compact compost, and it was more clay to force them to work. And then the bottom was a lot softer. And this is going to be a cakewalk for them. We're going to fill this place up with green. There's a bunch of wildflowers, grasses. I have some tree seeds, all different types of trees, all native to the general region. I have a mix that is special just for the desert tortoises and the herbivores of the land so that they can eat as well. In this pit alone, we have several trees planted pretty close to each other. You wouldn't normally see trees planted, just about 6 inches apart. There's another one right there. There's a couple of more right there, right there. Now I do have to get creative, because if I just leave them out in the open, as soon as they get about yay high, the ground squirrels or whatever herbivores, the jackrabbits and the like, are gonna sniff them out. They're gonna see them. They're gonna eat them. They're here for any green that is growing.
Now, the reason why you'll see me spreading seeds and not preparing them beforehand or spreading water on them after I plant it is because I want this to be as natural as possible. Meaning, I want it to work with nature's rhythm. I want it to work with the natural rain cycle. And so, if I go and water the seeds, or if I'm preparing them and soaking them beforehand, then I can't tell when it's going to rain. I don't know. And so it could be maybe too many days without rain and the seeds just go to waste. So that is the main reason, well, the only reason why I'm spreading the seeds and not watering them. The only things that I'm watering today are going to be the trees that I planted. But other than that, the grass seeds and the wildflower seeds are going to be watered by the rain that comes in whenever it does.
Okay, so I made a makeshift little dome here. Let me show you guys how they're gonna be protected. So this, if you go inside, which most of the herbivores out here can't. See that? It has a huge dome over it. I'm gonna probably cover this space up a little bit more with sticks, but most herbivores aren't really gonna get through this. A lot of it is stuck. I put it into the ground, and yeah, it's just gonna be a little too tough, a little too spiky, a little too dense for them to get through there and really munch on that comfortably. Also, I'm hoping that with all this material, they're a little bit more cautious in coming here, so they don't have too much time because of the noise that they'll be making and how exposed they'll be, because the color difference. They're used to that color, and so being out here might be a little bit dangerous for them. So I'm hoping they don't have enough time to really, like sift through everything and find the little mesquite trees. But who knows? We'll see. This is just in a little experiment. Um, as time goes on, I'm going to keep growing them in my home and in our warehouse, and bring bigger seedlings and bigger transplants out here to ensure their survival. But for now, this is what we got. We are done with this pit. We covered it with grass seeds, some flower seeds, the little dome here with all of the mesquite trees. We probably got about 10 or 12 trees. And so we'll see how this goes. I spreaded a bunch of the coyote gourd as well. Let's see how this goes. A lot of people might be asking, what am I utilizing this for? And what it's going to be is actually going to be like I don't know, like a water hose. But instead of it just being water, it's not only going to capture water on top, I'm going to be able to release water straight into the pit. It's going to be a special type of water. Now, if you look inside, there's going to be fruit scraps, greens, things like that. All types of compostable material. This is all going to go inside of this tank, and this is going to create a huge, a huge amount of fertilizer tea. Basically, what it's going to be is just going to be kind of cooking in there and bubbling in there, and we're going to get all types of growth in there, microbial growth, and that is going to start breaking these things down. If I find carcasses or if I find dung or whatever I find out here, it's all going to be thrown in there, and it's not going to smell good. It's not going to look good. However, it is going to do the soil really good. It's going to introduce lots of microorganisms into the soil. Okay, so basically what we're doing with the fungus and how we're trying to get the fungus going underneath all this biomass, this is going to be that, but accelerated. It's going to be really easy when there's nothing but water, material sitting in water. It's going to be very easy for it to start fermenting and breaking down. And whenever I want to water this pit, I'll just attach a hose to that, or I'll probably just open it and it'll just flood this thing up a little bit. And there you go. I'm going to be able to introduce all these microorganisms into the soil, not just for this pit, but for every other pit.
And the perfect time for planting new things is under a new moon. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and that you watch the rest.